it was made by the Coors Company. I was trying to save some money, so I was like, okay, I'm drinking Coors. Let's try Keystone Ice. What are you doing on your phone right now? Are you just not going to talk? You're just not going to talk to me during this whole...
Just because it says it's brewed by the Coors Brewing Company, Vinny, okay, there are a couple of beers that you don't buy, and that's Keystone and Natty.
Well, next time, I won't be buying Keystone Ice. Now we know. We'll never have to go through this again.
You want to know...
Would you like whiskey or rum? Because I have that.
No, but you want to know who buys Keystone? That guy that only has like $10 to his name, but he's going to a party and he wants to play beer pong.
I bought Coors at the same time. I bought Coors.
You just drank all the Coors, didn't you?
Yeah, we're done with the Coors, and now we gotta get rid of this fucking Keystone Ice. This is the worst intro to an episode fucking ever. All right, I'm so glad. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sort of My Podcast. My name is Vincent Herman, Vin the Human, sitting to my left. Or my right. They don't know, they're just listening.
James Odle, Alphaspecter.
Had you just gone with it, nobody would have ever noticed.
Well, see, that's why I gave it the pause. So you can just cut that stupidity right out.
Nope. Like our nerd news page, Sort of My Comics on Facebook, and follow Sort of My Podcast on Instagram. Check out Subject to Change Entertainment on Facebook and Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube and SoundCloud. You're checking this out somewhere. While here, why not like, comment, and most importantly, share. We're not kidding around, guys. Sharing is how we're going to get new listeners. We want to make that illustrious 10 the illustrious 1 million someday.
Yeah, we all teach our kids how to share.
Right.
Everyone should know how to share by now. It takes
3 whole seconds. 2 whole clicks. And, of course, all our personal social media is down in the description below, including the now correct, Twitter handle that I had wrong?
Bobb.
Yeah, Bobb's Twitter handle was wrong forever. I went back at least 10 episodes and fixed it, so...
I just kind of wonder whose Twitter that connected to.
Maybe no one's, man, because Twitter is pretty intuitive when it comes to that shit. I didn't go and check, but I'm pretty sure anyone who tried to type that in, it came up just fine for them. I don't know. You know what's not coming up fine for somebody, though?
What?
First of all, I should say I'm pretty fucking excited to get this episode done with, because I gotta watch the Comedy Central page pretty closely. Bruce Willis's roast is tonight at 9 o'clock as of recording this.
Roasted. And
yeah.
We got a few little spoilers as to what's going to happen during that. I don't know if you've seen them or not.
Yeah, that was what I was bringing up. Yeah, apparently at the end of this whole thing, he says that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. It's a Bruce Willis movie. And he's not wrong. It is a Bruce Willis movie. He's not wrong. But
that's not the only surprise that I was talking about that got ruined.
Well then don't.
I won't.
Then just don't.
Because apparently you don't know.
But this whole... Dude, people are, pissed at Bruce Willis for this comment, man. Just get over it. I look at it as a Christmas movie. But you know what? He's the fucking star of the thing, you know? You know why it takes so long between Die Hard movies? Because he won't sign off on them. And doesn't say anything good about his taste since Good Day to Die Hard got off the ground. But still, he's the man. All right, that's my standpoint. And I look at it as a Christmas movie. I'm buying the Golden Books Die Hard Christmas book.
You know? I forgot that was going to be a thing.
I never bought it before. I'm going to buy it here soon. Did you watch? Oh, no. You didn't prepare at all for this fucking thing, so I don't even think I should bring this up. But you...
Dude, anyway.
But then, did you see Nathan Fillion was in an Uncharted fan film?
Yeah, actually.
Did you watch that?
I didn't watch all of it, but I either saw a GIF or part of a video for it. But, God, he's perfect casting for that.
It is really great the way that they pulled this off. And... what I love the most about it is like the only thing I like about the Doom movie. Because that movie was garbage. But when they go into the video game
they
mode,
go to like the first person mode.
when they did that, I smiled a little bit. I thought that was kind of cool. And they do something like that with this. Cool. There's this part where he has to, like, he's escaping, and he jumps out of this window, and then, like, he lands on his knees or he does a tuck and roll or something like that. But then the camera goes behind him, and he's standing up slowly as if, like, we're entering, like, we've left a cutscene and now we're entering gameplay type thing. And he says, not as easy as it used to be. Like, you know, like a character will usually make some sort of comment to lead you into the next goal and shit. And then, it goes into, like, third-person game view mode while he's, like, looking around. You know how, like, the camera in a game will, like, follow your view around a corner? But, it's obviously not first-person shit. Yeah, it's really cool. You should check it out. It's about 15 minutes.
Okay, I haven't seen the full 15-minute video, but I know I've seen, like, a few clips and a couple GIFs from it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. You'll enjoy it. It's better than 90% of the video game movies out there, especially because like one of the only good
fan film.
One of the only good ones to come out recently is apparently Tomb Raider. I still haven't seen that, but
I haven't seen the new Tomb Raider. Yeah. I don't know how well Assassin's Creed was received.
Badly, from what I heard.
I was gonna say, like, I never really heard anything good about it.
No, me neither. So... You never really hear, if it's a video game movie, you never really hear much good about it either way.
No.
We also have some poll results. We can make an official announcement here. The winner of our best gaming franchise tournament was Pokemon. And it was, it was an insane race because we had God of War up against Pokemon in the Final Four.
Well, before that, it was God of War against Grand Theft Auto.
Well, no, but we covered all that on a previous episode.
But I went back and looked at that when we got the notification that the poll ended.
Yeah.
And when the poll actually ended, because they're forced to go a full week, they ended.
Yeah, and that was weird because it gave me the option to do custom. So I set up custom endpoints, and it didn't end then. They automatically go the full week. And some dude commented on that poll. And was like, it's 50-50. What do we do now? And I gave him the whole spiel. I was like, look, this is where we were with it. We were polling the results on that Sunday. And anything that happened after that, fuck it.
Right? Like that just... To see some of them get that close...
Yeah.
It was interesting. I didn't think we would have any of them actually go 50-50.
And then it was interesting to see the ones that just blew right past their opponents. I think Super Mario Brothers... no, the one that really got me was Zelda blew right past Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I figured it would have gotten... Elder Scrolls would have gotten a little bit more traction than that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean... And I honestly thought that Zelda, it was going to come down to Zelda in the final two.
Yeah, and to bring it back to the semifinals, the Final Four, we had Zelda up against Super Mario Brothers, and that was another really surprising one, because you would have assumed that would be really close.
Yeah.
But, Mario took it.
Mario was like, what,
70-some-odd%? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, damn.
Yeah, God of War and Pokemon were closer than that.
I know.
I think. And, then it came down to Super Mario Brothers versus Pokemon. And I think the last count, it was 45% of the vote was going Super Mario Brothers. 55% was on the side of Pokemon. So, yeah, that was the winner of our big thing. And basically the idea was, like, whoever won, we're going to do a Twitch stream for. And
now we have to figure out how we're going to do a Twitch stream for Pokemon.
Now, does the Nintendo Switch, does that have Twitch capabilities?
I have not, sat down with it to figure out if I can stream.
Yeah, and I've got one unopened sitting in the other room just waiting. Yeah, we should look into that, because if it does, then I think the game we should do is Pokemon Let's Go. Yeah, because I think we both have that pre-ordered. So it doesn't really matter where we go with it, you know.
If we can, we could even set something up from where you have your own Switch now as well. We could figure out something to either rent or buy used from GameStop and return it. You didn't hear me say that. But the Pokken tournament fighting game,
that could work out too. That we'll just do a whole like Switch Pokemon night.
Yeah. So just figure something out to actually make that worth watching. And
yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. We're gonna stream Pokemon Red.
We're just gonna like hold our phone over top of a Game Boy the whole time.
The emulators.
No, we're gonna do, because you know what? I've got Mew on my Pokemon Blue version, and I got it legitimately through like the game glitch that's in there. Is the only way. I did the whole thing. I did it for the 20th anniversary. I was making posts about it at that time, and I was so fucking 20 years of loving this game, and I finally fucking got Mew legitimately. Thank you, YouTube tutorials.
What would we do without YouTube?
Right. Moving on, though, we really should get into the news. I think we've got kind of a hefty episode here, and I know I'm not going to make my time in Phonebooth news for sure. It's way too packed. But we like to start off every show by talking about trailers. The first one we're talking about here is the new Dragon Ball Super movie trailer. Actually looks really, really cool. This is the movie called, I think it's titled Broly. It's Dragon Ball Super Broly. And it looks awesome. Goku looks as motivated as ever to become the strongest being out there. It seems to share some elements of the original Broly film, like the necklace, the father. I believe they're on a different... The green, I believe they're on a different planet. But you haven't been keeping up with Dragon Ball Super, the show. I've watched every episode. It ended episode 130, I believe. But yeah, one of the Saiyans from a different universe goes all Broly. And so, yeah, they had already established that latent Saiyan ability and the green and the energy manipulation that goes with it. And that's the cool thing about this, because they established it in Dragon Ball Super. It opened the door for them to make Broly canon, and from what I've heard, that is what this movie is. This movie is canon.
See, that's what I've been hearing. That's what I've been hearing as well, is that this is going to bring Broly from just a side, like, one-off series that...
And the thing we've been joking about it for years, since high school and shit, about how awesome these movies are. You got, like, Gogeta coming out of Fusion Reborn, and you got all the Broly movies, and then Cooler and shit, and how great these villains were, how awesome these movies were. Yeah. But they have nothing to do with the show. Like, they're totally removed.
They're completely separate. They're like the X-Men movies to the MCU.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
They're in the same time-space continuum.
Except for, oddly, they are made by the exact same people who are making the show at the time, too. So it's so weird that they never interconnected them. But it makes sense, because we've talked about, like, I believe it was... We talked about it on the show, how they revealed why there was always such a gap between fights and stuff, why fights took so long, and why that joke was able to be made. Because, if you didn't hear that episode, they were making the manga at the same time as the show, and the show was being based purely off the manga. So they would do filler episodes, those, like, extra long-winded expositional fight breaks.
7 episodes to form a spirit bomb.
Yeah, just to wait for the next issue of the Dragon Ball Z manga so they could get to the next thing. You could argue maybe that played a factor, and when they were making the movies, it was about making the movie, making a contained story, just this really cool thing that was happening. Because as far as I know, those movies aren't based off of any manga. No, but I'm not deep into the manga
because
game.
I'm pretty sure, like, Tree of Life,
Dr. What the fuck was that guy's name?
Dr. Giro?
No, not Dr. Giro. The one who was like a big brain in a mech suit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? No, something like that. It was one of those earlier movies.
Yeah. There was like a couple of Red Ribbon ones.
Yeah.
I mean, there were all sorts of different spin-offs. There was the Bardock ones.
The Bardock ones, History of Trunks.
Yeah.
You had Lord Slug.
Yeah, none of them were ever considered, like, canon as we consider things canon nowadays.
Even though that didn't stop them from putting all of these characters in every video game.
Right?
But no, it looks cool. It looks really nuts. You were even sitting there watching it. Like we said, you haven't been watching Dragon Ball Super, but this got you going.
Yeah. I mean, being a Dragon Ball fan for years, seeing Goku and what he's saying and doing, and like Vegeta's internal monologue and being caught off guard, which seems to happen a lot to Vegeta, but every single time he's just as surprised as the first time it happened. And it's always, he's learning as he's fighting me.
Yeah.
Everyone does that to Vegeta. It just occurred to me.
You really should watch Dragon Ball Super. I feel like Vegeta gets a good go at it finally.
He does, and I know he does, but at the same time, he's always taken by surprise.
Yeah. Well, that's the arrogance.
It is.
That's the idea of the arrogance in the character.
Everyone in this, and especially Broly himself, it looks great, and
it's
very primal.
Their updated Broly look is just fucking awesome. I love what they've done with him. He gets his own Saiyan armor this time.
Yeah.
And shit. It's really cool, the redesign on this character. Again, calling back to the ties to the other films, like, in the other films, he was scrawny, and in this one, like, just in his basic form, he looks
beefy as shit.
He looks beefy, and he gets even beefier. Mm-hmm. But it makes a little more sense. Because he starts out like he's a big guy. He's tall as shit too. Comparatively, it looks like he's huge.
He towers over all of them. Which, I mean, granted, we know that Piccolo is one of the tallest in the series.
Yeah.
And Vegeta is one of the shortest. Goku's like right there in the middle.
Yeah.
But he is seriously towering over Goku in this.
And you gotta wonder if Ultra Instinct is gonna come in on this, because at the beginning of the trailer they're talking about the Tournament of Power, and Ultra Instinct, I guess, is this form that's available to basically any being powerful enough to unlock it. And that's how, it's not like a new Saiyan form, it's like just this thing that has existed in the universe, and so very few have ever done it, and Goku manages to do it during the Tournament of Power, but we never get a glimpse of that in the trailer. It only goes as far as Super Saiyan Blue.
Right.
And that's another thing you gotta wonder, are they gonna bring that in? Is that how he's gonna defeat Broly? But moving on from there, like, I think we've gone as deep as we can on that. We also got a new Iron Fist teaser.
Yes,
Memories teaser. It came out like just the other day, so it took me by surprise. Didn't even have time to write notes about it, so we're going in raw on this.
Like, I just found out about it last night. Like, it came in under the radar. Like, no Facebook announcement from Marvel that I saw or anything like that, and it's been out for...
Yeah, I got no notifications.
For a few days, apparently.
And it came out yesterday. We record this on Sundays. It came out yesterday, apparently. According to, like, YouTube's time frame thing, it said 1 day ago. But I sparsely watched the news on Sunday. I was watching pretty intently last weekend, but normally there's, like, nothing comes out on Sunday. I might post a meme or something if something comes across my radar. But this did not. This, like, was just, like, very quietly put out there.
They snuck it in there, and the bastards put so much in this trailer.
That's arguable. Okay, what you mean is in comparison to the San Diego Comic-Con teaser that we saw, because that was like basically nothing happened.
Like, so far for season 2, we've gotten a flickering neon sign, which has given us the Iron Serpent.
Yeah.
We have gotten the
little
short
alleyway
teaser of the alley fight that shows like much better combat prowess and instincts and everything from Danny.
Shows off basically, it looks like what they're doing is they're showing off the choreography, because that's
been one of the biggest issues.
That was one of the biggest issues out of Defenders and Iron Fist Season 1, and both of these teasers have like focused on some of the fighting. And what you're talking about in this one, where it says it gives us a little more, is we get to see some of his time on Kunlun, and we get to see the yellow...
we see the Iron Fist mask.
What is that called? It's not a baklava, is it?
No.
That's not a baklava. No, a baklava is the ski mask thing.
It's more...
Cowl.
Similar
It's a cowl.
Yeah.
It's the Iron Fist cowl.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Like, we don't have the great big collar or anything like that. No. But the great thing about this is it was very reminiscent, especially with the gold belt, it was reminiscent of his all-new, all-different white and gold suit.
Yeah. But it's obvious that in that scene, he's training.
Yeah.
Like, this is his training. So, of course, he's not going to have the full-on bodysuit thing, which, I hope is a thing. Like, I don't think it
will be. I feel like this is going to be as close as we're going to get.
Look, I know if you were to put him in that suit and then set him next to Jessica Jones and set him next to Luke Cage and set him next to...
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, even next to Daredevil, it would look so fucking stupid, but you know what?
We still want it. But just the fact that they gave us the mask.
Yeah, the mask is perfect.
And the fact that we know that it's going to be in here, we're going to see more of it.
I got to watch Poppin' My Peas, man. Doing it too badly.
You pea popper?
I'm a pea popping pissant. Alright.
But like we see the training, we see, and it's him and Davos who are in that scene sparring against each other, which... If you know anything about Iron Fist, it comes down to those two for the right to the Iron Fist.
Yeah.
The right to challenge the dragon to become the Iron Fist.
Well, isn't it Davos fails during the fight but lives?
So, if I remember right, what happens is it comes down to Dany and Davos, and this fight is supposed to be a fight to the death. Whoever comes out the victor claims the right to challenge... Shalao for the Iron Fist, but instead of killing Davos, because they were such longtime friends, he spares him.
That's right. That's what it was.
So that's why we see some of that.
Wait, because I know, because Davos got like the half dragon thing.
Well,
and that's
what happened with Davos is he went to challenge. He lost, but he went in the middle of the night to challenge
behind
Shalao.
Everyone's back. Regardless of whether he...
Yeah.
Okay,
and
that's what I'm thinking of.
He failed.
Yeah.
So he only managed to get, like, the serpent engraved on him instead of, like, the full symbol.
Yeah.
So that's where that comes from. He's still strong. He's still able to channel his chi and do all that because they were taught to do some of that.
Right.
But he's not... He doesn't have the power of the Iron Fist.
Right, and then so eventually he hops to a different realm and becomes their champion, and that's why he's the Iron Serpent, right?
No, he becomes the Iron Serpent mostly in spite of the Iron Fist.
Okay, so he creates his own thing.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And his mask is... the cowl that he has is purple in comparison to the yellow and all that, but he's also not entirely self-reliant. He gets aid from, I believe, Madame Gao, in the form of like hardening his skin, able to take stuff like that. So I feel like if it is going to come down to the Battle of the Seven Cities, something like that, which is really what I'm hoping for. We'll get that interaction with Davos and
maybe
Gal.
that was their way of fixing the Iron Fist show, is they were like, we fucked up, we took too many liberties, we got a little lazy also at the same time, and now this is them going, okay, let's go comic accurate. And
I hope so.
They're going to go that route with it. I mean, it's working for DC. Because
it's working for DC, and it's working for another one of our topics here in just a little bit.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if you're going to pick any writer to go comic accurate with, Ed Brubaker is a great one to go with, because he writes a lot of really good, realistic, like, easily translatable stuff.
Right. And when they were saying they were gonna, like, the first season of Iron Fist was gonna be this like kung fu movie epic type thing, it felt fell short of the comic in that
really
respect.
did.
The comic was more of a kung fu classic than...
I was going to say, it didn't even really feel like it fell into that like classic kung fu movie thing, because you had a lot going on with the Meachums, you had a lot going on with the business.
There was way too much there.
There was a lot less Iron Fist, like a lot less kung fu in the first season. It seems
like they saw what was going on in Jessica Jones with her lawyer friend, who I can never remember her name, but that shit
Jerry.
was... Yeah, Jerry. It was interesting, though, because she was kind of like... When you're first introduced to her, you think like she's this cut and dry lawyer type character, and then you dig deeper and she's actually like terribly flawed and shit. It was character development.
Yeah.
And it seems like they were like...
Jessica Jones and in Daredevil, like, they have their career set up. A lot of their life and a lot of their, like, the people they care about revolve around their business, their career, and all that. Danny's been away, hasn't stepped foot into his business for years.
It seems like they were trying to do that same thing with Danny Rand, but just missed the point of the fact that he hasn't been there forever.
Yeah, and it's
let's focus on that. What has he been doing? I don't give a shit about what the Meachums have been up to.
Now, like I said, they've taken a bit from the Iron Fist the Living Weapon series in the way that he uses his powers and all that. There's something from that series that I want to see translated into, like, on screen, but that I know we won't. And that's, Danny has built a multi-million-dollar containment area in his apartment building that he is the only one that lives in.
Yeah.
Just for Shou-Lao to live in.
Well, that would be amazing. But I
just want to see a giant fucking dragon.
But he did buy that whole building just to cover up the shit going on with Luke Cage.
Just in Luke Cage season 2. Yeah.
So
I mean, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities.
No, not at all.
But
it is out of the realm of their budget, probably.
And that's the thing we have to keep in mind is we want to see this. We want this to happen, but these aren't exactly like heavy CG shows. So the budget on these, they can stay fairly low on. Right. And they're going to make a shit ton of money back. So, but bringing in the mystic arts and stuff like that if they do the Battle of the Seven Cities, that's going to take some CG work.
And I think that's another place where they fell flat with season 1 is that they were like, we can do this like the other ones. We can save a buck here. And they didn't realize when dealing with the mystic arts comes a fucking CG budget.
Yeah.
You gotta spend the money there. You're not gonna get away with it if you don't. And we saw it. They didn't get away with it.
Yeah. I mean,
so
practicality only gets you so far when it comes to things from the imagination.
I have faith that they've learned from their learned from their mistake, and the lessons are gonna come through in this first season. They've already been teased at in Luke Cage season 2. Mm-hmm. The fixes they've made there. And honestly, I think it's ingenious the way they're doling this out, because they're giving us tastes that any comic book fan, anyone who read the trial, is going to pick up on and see so much more in. But the casual viewer is only going to see, you put the mask on 2 of them, and then you had them fight for like 2 seconds in a flashback of a trailer that's just them walking down the street.
Right. And there, like we were talking a little bit ago, it was kind of an underwhelming teaser, but we do still have to remind ourselves it is a teaser.
But there's so much there. There is a ton there.
For
if you know what you're
45-second teaser trailer?
If you know what you're looking for, there's a lot there. There's a lot in the one we saw at Comic-Con, because, again, that one was just like, hey, check it out. The fucking choreography is on. Don't worry about that. And then that very first one with the
flickering
neon
light
sign was like, hey, check it out, Davos is going to be the big bad here. And so, they've done so little, but said so much. And that's what's making me comfortable.
Well, it feels like they're building up to what the fans have been wanting.
Yeah.
and that's a big thing, and especially if you go comic accurate, you're almost impossible to fall short.
Yeah. We should really move on. We talked a lot more about this than I thought we would for such a small teaser. And especially because I feel like you're going to have a lot to say about this next thing, which is the Deadly Class trailer. And you're a huge fan.
Talking about comic accurate.
I have read everything that you own in trade paperback form, I think.
You've read the first 4 story arcs.
Are you sure it's 4? I thought it was more.
I have 4 trade paperbacks, and then I have the hardcover that contains 3 of the trade paperbacks. But I feel like what we're going to get here is only going to be like maybe the first arc, part of the second. So we may get 10 to 12 issues worth of material here. But it looks so good. Mm-hmm. Like just the part where Marcus is on the bridge and he's talking about, I'm not really a religious person. I don't really believe in God. But then again, I'm a hypocrite because I pray. These lines are taken straight from the book.
Yeah. But that seemed more like a tower, didn't it to you? I think that was a tower in the trailer. It's a bridge in the book.
If I remember right, where he's at it's like the San Francisco Bridge or something, but he's on top of that.
He's up on one of the peaks.
Yeah. So it looks to me where they are, and then Saya is just like behind him.
Yeah.
And says something like, I didn't mean to interrupt such a personal moment.
Something like that. Of the book.
And it was.
Yeah.
And then we have the scene which comes like very shortly after that, like. And one of the things that has me geeking out about this trailer...
you really are. You're like... You're more intense about this than you got about any of the San Diego Comic-Con stuff.
I know. But, like, they have taken really good elements from what they have filmed so far and put in this trailer, but in so many different places... Like, the police are running through the street when we first see Maria in her Day of the Dead makeup and all that. That happens in the first issue. And just watching that scene unfold in live action is exactly how it unfolds in the comic.
Yeah.
And so, in all the characters, they look great. Freddy. Oh, God, what's the southern bitch's name?
I don't remember.
I can't think of her name.
But she's got the big hair and everything.
Got, like, the big,
if you've seen the trailer, she's got the
hair.
bandana in her hair and everything.
And now keep in mind, this takes place in the late 80s.
Yes. Yeah.
So, it's going to be...
Which, I wanted to mark a note about the song playing in this. The original version of that song was the theme song to that 80s show.
Was it really?
Yeah, it is. 80s. I'm living in the 80s. I've got to push. I've got to struggle. Yeah.
Like,
stupid.
See, even
come on down to Sort of My Podcast, your number one source for obscure That 80s Show trivia.
Where Ben the Human's the only one that actually knows what he's talking about.
I've seen all 13 episodes multiple times. I actually enjoyed the show.
But it like, even I was a little hesitant on Benedict Wong playing the headmaster.
Yeah.
So, but he pulls it off.
He pulls it off. It looks good. It looks good. It's just not. That's like the least comic accurate thing in the trailer. But he does a good job. And he's Benedict Wong.
The only person that I could see doing that isn't around anymore, and that's Pat Morita.
Yeah.
He could have done that.
Wow.
He so could have done
that. Amazing.
But getting
that would have been great.
Benedict Wong still seems to be, fairly in his prime as far as, his movement, I guess would be a good way. So being able to do some of these things that are unassuming of an older looking headmaster of a school. Well, he's the headmaster for a school of assassins.
If Chow Yun-Fat hadn't done Dragon Ball Evolution, maybe we'd be talking about him in this role. But
Which, I mean, and the sad thing is that pretty much ended his career.
I haven't heard anything about him since 2009. And that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One bad movie is all it takes.
I guess.
So,
but no, this looks really good. Marcus sounds exactly like I had heard him in my head when I was reading the novel. Very monotone, very unexpressive. And you might argue that's the sign of a bad actor, but if you've read this book, that's Marcus.
Yeah.
Very just going with it until something really extreme happens, and then it's a shock to the system.
Yeah. And they even go and show several clips of him being homeless.
Yeah.
Because in case you didn't know, the story, he was homeless and was basically taken in by this school of assassins.
Right.
So he picks up the burger out of the trash can. That is, anyone who knows anything about homeless, that is like the epitome there.
That's just a motherfucker who's homeless right there. He just ate a trash burger.
And he's hiding under a bridge behind some debris from the cops.
Yeah. There's so many scenes in it. The note passing scene.
Yeah. God.
When you saw that, that was the exact expression I had was, holy shit. Oh, fuck. Because if you haven't seen the trailer, the Southern girl passes Marcus a note, and
the teacher...
Was it Benedict Wong?
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was the head. He has his walking stick or pointing
or whatever
stick, something.
Yeah.
And he smacks the note from Marcus's desk,
and in a
split puts it
second,
back over on her desk and whacks her in the face. And and almost it looks like he probably broke her nose.
Yeah. Well, she's bleeding profusely after that, and then she just licks the blood off her finger, and you're like, what the
fuck? That is that character to a T.
Seeing that scene without actually seeing an episode, and you're going fuck, this is gonna be awesome.
I can't wait to see how big and bad they're gonna have Victor.
Yeah, because they only show him once.
Yeah.
They don't even you don't even hear his voice because he's Russian, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
he's a Russian mob kid or something, and so you get nothing from him, but he's a big part of this story.
Mm-hmm.
And oh wow, there's just you talk about comic accurate, even just down to the fucking title card of this trailer. It was literally right off the cover of the book.
The hairstyles. The hairstyles are straight.
The hairstyles, the costuming, just everything.
I would say the King's Dominion outfit, their uniform, was spot on.
And this is sci-fi, and I feel like they've been nailing this independent graphic novel thing lately.
Didn't Sci-Fi do Happy?
They did, and what I've heard about Happy is that it's incredibly comic accurate as well. Almost to a T. And so they, I feel like Sci-Fi's finally found its thing, but it's not science fiction.
Well,
it's hilarious.
It's comics, so it kind of falls in there a little bit.
No, not Deadly Class.
But
there's a clear distinction between science fiction and fantasy, and these are more
it's still
high
fiction.
Fantasy.
It's still fiction. It may not be science fiction.
It's not science fiction, and we're talking about sci-fi. We're arguing distinction here. Mine is obvious. They were the Sci-Fi Network.
Right.
And now they're just SYFY. Fucking, we're going to do whatever the hell.
To give our
along.
listeners one more thing. If us gushing over this trailer and you watching the trailer isn't enough, keep in mind that it is the Russo brothers.
Yes, that is
who are heading this.
They're the executive producers on this.
Yeah, they're the executive producers, and if you don't know their names, you know their movies. They did Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron.
I am praying you saw Avengers: Infinity War. If you're listening to this, if you're nerdy enough to listen to this, you have to have been nerdy enough to watch Avengers: Infinity War at least once. And you're probably kicking yourself because you didn't watch it a second time.
I actually am kicking myself because I never got to see it a second time in theaters.
I loved it so much.
You saw it 4 times, didn't you?
I saw it 3 times. And in theaters. And I'm a part of the Disney Movie Club. And if you're not aware of that fucking trap, then
want your
I am.
digital code. I claim your digital code. Dibs.
Doesn't Bob have all dibs on all digital codes?
No, he has to be here to dibs them as they come in.
But anyways,
I'm going to put a pre-order on that dibs.
And I have willfully already pre-ordered Avengers Infinity War from the Disney Movie Club at full price, which is more than what it's going to be at Walmart. Yeah, I'm so happy to hand over that extra few dollars.
Oh, yeah.
And shipping, because it was worth that. Anyways, we need to move on.
We do.
I don't have the screen open right now, but if I had to guess, we're like 45 minutes into this thing at least. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the news. The first thing we're going to cover is something Odle is really excited to talk about. He's been waiting all day to get this, and we have an update on the Allison Mack sex cult situation.
In case you guys have missed it. we have kept you up to date every time something big has happened with this. This will be our 4th time covering updates for this case. And in case you were wondering, this also includes a wardrobe update, an accessory update, what kind of shampoo she's using now, and when the last time she clipped her toenails was. I
showed you guys those pictures during the arrest. She's not using any fucking shampoo. That's for goddamn shit. No, I don't know about that. But yeah, when I shared this to the group chat, he was like, Allison Mack again? Are you fucking kidding me?
We get it. She's kinky. Let's move on.
Come on. Alright. Anyways, we're going to get right into this. If you guys haven't heard of the story, here's the abridged version. Basically, the company Nexum, I think it is Nexum, was supposed to be a self-help group and turned into a sex cult. She was a big member of recruiting girls into this, and everything's fallen down. Keith Rainier, the guy who runs the thing, he's in custody. He's in jail right now. The trials are going on. Allison Mack herself has been released, but she has an ankle monitor on and has to stay at her parents' house. It's a whole fucking thing. We've done episodes on it. Just look back in our catalog.
Can't have sex with everyone if you're at your parents' house in your 30s.
That is a really big understatement on this situation. But anyways, check out our other episodes on this. But basically, months after being charged with trafficking, sex trafficking conspiracy, and forced labor conspiracy due to her involvement with Nexum, a recent indictment added racketeering conspiracy, which includes identity theft, extortion, forced labor, sex trafficking, money laundering, wire fraud, and obstruction of justice to the charges that were already against her. So she had like 3 huge ones, and then they just dumped all this shit on top of it. So she's going to jail. Like, if just one of these fucking things sticks, we'll never see her again.
I don't know. She's female. She'll probably just get like 2 years.
We live in a much different world now, though.
Nope.
Like that is kind of an antiquated idea right now.
No, it's really not. That bitch who hung a fucking toddler at the daycare, like rope around the neck, hung them.
I heard about that.
The kid was fine. You wanna know what happened? She got like 6 months probation.
Oh, no! Yeah, Philip DeFranco was covering that shit. I remember that. I was so fucking pissed. That is not the way to start your day before work, because that's when I watched Philip DeFranco.
And the lady has kids of her own and has been, like, caught up in abuse with that and all this and that. Yeah, so tell me if that was a guy. Okay, if it was a guy in Alex Mack's situation right now, he'd already be in jail with a life sentence.
Keith Rainier, the guy who ran the whole
He's already in jail, right?
He's in jail, yeah. Awaiting, like, the big trials and shit. And yeah, you're right. She's out on probation. She's supposed to be just as involved in all this shit as him. But no, she's out on, like, house arrest, basically.
And okay, to all of our female listeners out there, no, I'm not like anti-feminist, misogynist, whatever the hell you want to call it.
We believe you should be held accountable as equally in a sex cult as anyone.
Everyone wants fair rights.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you want fair rights
all gotta be fair.
The glass ceiling shatter, all this and that, then go to fucking jail for running a sex
here's the difference, though. The daycare thing versus this. That was on a lower level court system wise, and this is a federal case.
Right.
Like, this is a huge, big profile thing. And that's why I say she's probably fucking going to jail. Because this is not
I mean, when you mess with federal things like that, and
not
especially
to say and we're not trying to
trafficking itself.
We're not trying to make a distinction. What's worse? Both fucking things. Sex trafficking, terrible. Hanging a child from a balcony, terrible. But who's to say which is worse? We're not making that distinction.
That's
here.
not our place to make an opinion on that.
Yeah, we're just pointing out the fact that is a state thing, and this is a federal case. And so where that had a fucked up result and should have been worse, this is almost clear. She's going to jail for a few years.
And I know that there are counter arguments to men get off easy on things as well, with the whole Brock Turner.
Oh god,
thing.
No, let's not even talk about that piece of shit.
I was gonna say,
because he's back in the news too again.
I know.
This is a nerd news podcast. You know what brings us into this every time? And we're going to make this, declaration. It's because it's Chloe from Smallville.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is that, you also see the whole thing, every important cast member from Smallville has, gone on record for saying, if they were to do an animated version, an animated revival of the show, we're in. Not Chloe. I think you can go ahead and skip on that part. And so that raises the question: how are they going to deal with Chloe when they revive this show? Probably recasting if it's animated.
They'd either recast her or kill her.
Or kill her off. Yeah.
You know what? She moved out of state. She kept
getting in over her head all the time, anyways. So it was to say
she moved out of state for college. That's the easiest way. That is the easiest way. They
never had a college years, did they? On that show, have you?
They skipped it.
They were just we're out of high school now, and the world's more important. None of us are going to college.
We're out of high school now, and we're 30.
All right, moving on from there.
That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
I graduated. Now I'm 30.
That got real sad real fast.
So what's the next topic?
Disney and Fox had an update to their whole thing.
I saw that.
The suspense is over, dude. After meetings held separately at a New York Hilton, each lasting less than 15 minutes apiece, the Fox shareholder approval was given, making the deal all but done, and giving Disney Fox's film and TV studios certain rights to characters, FX Networks, National Geographic, a 30% stake in Hulu, and a 31.9% stake in UK pay TV and broadband provider Sky, which I included that so we could finally find out what Sky was. Because we had no idea last time. Disney still has to clear antitrust hurdles with other governments like China, the European Union, like that. But looks like the X-Men are coming home, man.
Not just the X-Men, but the Fantastic Four as well.
The first family of Marvel.
I mean, it's bittersweet. It really is.
Is it bittersweet? I think it's just sweet.
Well, but the thing is, it's bittersweet because it's taken this long to get all but one property under one roof.
Yeah.
But that property is working in tandem. Yeah. So the Sony is working well with Marvel Studios to make these movies.
Right.
Now, granted, we still have
pushback from Universal on the Hulk
right.
and stuff. They're being assholes.
But, we have, 8 different, X-Men related films with the Wolverine movies, the X-Men films,
probably more than that. Yeah.
I'm going to say 8 to 10 just in...
We still have Dark Phoenix coming up.
Yeah.
New Mutants.
And then, we have the 2 Fantastic Four movies. There's no third. We only have 2. But, now they're all coming home. But with that, is Marvel going to do what they did with the Hulk? Are they just going to be like, you know what? That didn't happen. Here's a new one. I kind of hope they do.
This is actually kind of perfect timing because it would have been during Phase 2 would have been an opportune time to introduce this stuff. But Phase 3, shit was already set in place so well that introducing something like this, even the Fantastic Four, would have just been a little too much too quickly. Right. But now we're entering a new phase of Marvel. After Avengers 4, whatever, they haven't announced a name yet.
Right.
After Avengers 4, we enter into Phase 4, and whatever that means, which we only have a taste of what's coming there. We know we're getting Guardians 3, which we're going to talk a little bit about later. We have Black Panther 2, Doctor Strange 2, but our big trinity, Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, they're probably stepping away. We're not going to see those. But we are going to see the rise of Captain Marvel. We'll probably get one of those sequels and stuff. Another Avengers movie, most likely titled New Avengers. And so this is the time for,
this is the time
interesting
for
superhero team to come up.
Fantastic Four.
And now, oh man, all of a sudden, mutations are becoming a little newsworthy, and it turns out there's been this underground school of mutants this whole time. We're entering into the right time for it.
But think about it. If they bring the New Avengers into play, they can do West Coast Avengers.
Well, even if they're doing New Avengers, that opens the door for Wolverine to be a part of the team and Spider-Man.
Well, it also opens the door to tie the shows in. Because Luke Cage heads up the New Avengers for a while.
This is true.
Iron Fist has been a long-running part of the Avengers.
And they've never shied away from listening to the fans. Fans obviously want some interaction between these two properties.
And they've even stated it's not out of the realm of possibilities. It's just not an immediate plan.
They considered it. I think there was an interview with the Russo brothers where they were talking about how they had considered bringing the Netflix properties into Infinity War.
It didn't make sense or something of that nature.
It was working with all the different companies and the showrunners and the studios and shit, and just getting that underway was a bigger task than it was worth for a 10-second shot of them fighting in the streets or something like that. So that at least made sense. But Phase 4, who's to say they can't open the door?
And with it being a Marvel property through and through with the Netflix shows, they could even make instead of a Defenders show or something like that, they can start making Netflix original movies with these characters that tie into the MCU. They could. Shadowland. That would be a great thing for them to instead of making that a season of a show. Because it wasn't that long of an event because that was mainly a Daredevil event, right? So, and it was 6 issues? They could easily make that a movie that ties into the MCU because it did have that really blanket effect.
That would be really cool. And they've more than earned their spot. Daredevil being a very popular one amongst all the shows. That would be really cool. But I also do have a little bit of house cleaning because we're talking about the X-Men here. Someone pointed out to me that it was not Tron Legacy that started the whole de-aging thing. which I think we alluded to, like, maybe or maybe it wasn't. We didn't really know for sure.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it. And
the first one, I looked into it because they told me what it was. It was actually a listener named Charlie Flanagan. Mm-hmm. He told me what it was, and so I looked into it. And actually, the first ones to use it was X-Men 3: The Last Stand. And that is when Charles and Magneto go to visit Jean Grey. I thought that was just makeup. Like, here's the weird thing. They did such a good job in that scene, and I went back and watched it, that I thought it was just makeup. And then, the second people to use it was The Curious Case of Benjamin Button in 2008. Mm-hmm. Way worse. They did a way worse job with it. And then you fast forward to Tron Legacy. Way worse. They did a terrible job with it. So apparently, the people to handle that first, Fox, nailed it right off the bat. Probably a very minuscule way, but still, we apologize. A little house cleaning. Tron Legacy was not the first. Now we know. Maybe now you know, and we can all move on from here.
So what are we moving on to?
We're gonna move on to some No Man's Sky updates.
All right.
This is actually some really cool shit. When I was reading this, I haven't played the game yet, but I have kind of through proxy experienced the game through Alphaspecter here, because he was all about it. I was all about the news coverage when it was first coming out, and then everyone knows it came out very underwhelmingly and dropped the ball on most of its promises.
When I found that out, I got my money back from that I had already put down for my pre-order. Like, I did not pick it up.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you did pick it up.
I just recently, in like the past month, since the EA news.
Okay.
I went and I picked it up after that.
So E3 got you to pick up the game.
Yeah, the E3 news of everything that they're doing right with it now.
Yeah.
And everything that I've been hearing. So far, the only complaint that I'm hearing now is the amount of time that it takes you to travel to another planet.
And that's not a big deal.
That it can be a little bit time consuming. But
you put down the game, you go do something else.
Well, no, it's not even that you go do something else. It's a flight simulator.
Oh, shit.
It's basically a flight simulator. You control.
That sounds fun, but annoying.
Right. Yeah. You know, having to do it, if you have to do it every time to get to another planet, yeah. If there's a fast travel option, fan-fucking-tastic. But if you want to explore and find new planets and stuff like that, then yeah, you're going to have to invest the time.
Right. But a lot of stuff that's been asked for and was promised since the game launch have been included in what is actually a free update that went live July 24th. This just happened, so I wouldn't be surprised if some people weren't aware of it or what all features were coming.
And a lot of this is, again, some of this stuff has been announced, but more recent things just kind of fly under the radar.
Some of this stuff was a surprise because we've talked about some of the stuff that was announced that was coming.
No Man's Sky, and then with Prey.
Yeah.
When that came out, I did buy that on release and played it and loved it.
Yeah.
But traded it in towards something else because it kind of started to lose its luster. It started to get repetitive. And I picked it back up after finding out the new updates and stuff they were doing.
So you're very frivolous with your money.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes,
that's what you're saying. You
ask anyone.
You just don't think about it before you do it.
But in my defense on Prey, it was entirely worth the $60 price tag. It was a Bethesda game, great playthrough and all that, a great concept, but it just, after putting it down for a couple of weeks and I went to pick it back up, it wasn't quite the same as when I'd been playing it every day.
Yeah.
So, there was that, but with No Man's Sky, it was a little bit different because they put all of this in your face of, here's what this game is going to be when we drop it.
It was a big letdown when they did that.
So now they're finally owning up to what they said over a year or two later.
Yeah, and it was last year that this got released.
Yeah. So and it has so much anticipation. So now they're like, all that stuff that we promised, Here it is.
Right?
And you know what? We're not even going to charge you for it.
Well, we got a trailer to show off some of these updates, and I actually have a list here to detail what's coming. So in case you weren't informed, we're going to go through this piece by piece. Multiplayer is the first thing. Players will be able to join their friends and meet strangers and can play the full game together as a party. The trailer actually seems to indicate like a 4-player party, but it's unconfirmed.
That's fairly typical.
Yeah.
Like 4-player squads
with online, especially because I would imagine 4 is easy to formulate a plan with.
Yeah,
like come together, make.
I mean, because you have to think of
what's
what
the word? I've got a word here that I'm missing.
You have to think of
strategize with.
Well, strategizing like monster scaling and all that. For multiple players. So you can do it on your own. It's a little easier with friends, but it's still challenging.
Of course. You also get character customization, which I thought was really cool. Your traveler is now more than a floating camera. All Hello Games has confirmed, though, is that you can personalize your appearance, but the trailer seems to suggest that you get to play different races with customizable spacesuits. So that's pretty cool addition. Not important per se, but a nice addition.
I'd like the ability to wear a disco ball.
Everyone loves customization, man. Anytime they can
Elder
fuck with their
Scrolls.
character.
You'll spend more time making your character than you will playing the game.
Everyone's got to be an individual, dude, for sure. A third-person point of view also plays into this thing, which is a new update.
Yeah.
The entire game, both on foot and in ship, can now be viewed from a third-person perspective, letting you see your customized character as well. And so it's not just going to be like your online friends can see you.
And that kind of ties in. That's a big thing. You spend this time customizing your character. You want to see it too. Right. So that's a great step.
You see that awesome spacesuit murder a fucking helpless creature that you just happened upon. It's getting updated visuals as well. Hello was promised, and I quote, dramatically improved planetary terrain, son of a bitch. I'm going to restart that. Hello has promised dramatically improved, and I quote, planetary terrain generation, ground textures, water, and clouds, with more detail added, unquote, with more detail added to ships, buildings, and NPCs.
So it's going to be more graphically straining on your system,
right?
And cause it to overheat and die.
Right. Or they found a way to make it, or you just gotta buy the Pro. This is the way to get you to buy the Pro version of these consoles.
Hello has teamed up with Sony to get everyone's system to just fry, so that everyone has to go out, and they're going to run a special on the PlayStation Pro.
There'll be a bundle pack coming soon.
There'll be a bundle with No Man's Sky and a No Man's Sky themed controller, and you guys heard it here first. When it happens, you know who called it.
Right. Well, it wouldn't be the first time that we've called shit. We just never remember to point it out when we did it. You're also going to get unlimited base building. You're no longer bound to a single planet in base building. Bases can actually now be built anywhere on any planet, and you can own multiple bases. And multiplayer bases are actually going to be able to be shared among the party.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Furthering that, you also get extended base building with the size limits being increased, and hundreds of new parts have been added to help you create what you want. Freighter base building has also been extended too. So
right.
It really seems like the whole base building aspect has taken the Fallout 4 notion as that we want wide variety. We want some space to work with. We want to do what we want to do. Freighter fleets, you can now command a fleet of giant ships. Details on this are a little hazy, with Hello saying only that you can, and I quote, send your fleet out into the universe or deploy them to help you as you explore a specific system. So exactly how this is going to work, not necessarily available to you yet, but well, I guess it is because it's like the shit already came out. So, if you know how that's gonna work, I guess comment down below.
Share so that other people can comment.
That wouldn't hurt, commenting and sharing. It'd be the weirdest, newest thing. You'd be like revolutionizing the internet by just like commenting and sharing. That'd be so weird.
It's crazy.
If that doesn't tickle your snowflake dick.
That is just insanity.
Listen to me, you fucking millennial fucks. You better fucking... I'm sorry. I got a little hot there. So... there is one more piece of news. Multiplayer missions. Friends can be invited to your freighter, and using the Galactic Commission Station, it lets you kick off challenging missions built for multiple players. So, not only is it going to let you help your buddies in like normal in-game shit, but it also has new missions specifically geared towards being a group. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it seems like they've really come along and been like, look, we fucked up. Here's everything and more.
For free.
For free!
And that's a big thing anymore.
For free until they release the No Man's Sky Completed Edition, which has the shit built onto the disc.
Okay, listen. Doing it for free is the right way to go. Because Destiny, Bungie is putting a bad taste in everyone's mouth in the video game industry.
Right.
Which
is so weird, because they started out so strong.
Well, Destiny was great, and then they changed it, and people kind of got sick of their shit, and then they changed it again, and it was okay at the end. Destiny 2 came out, and it was cool, but it went into the same thing. And they're like, okay, well, you can buy the season pass and get you can get 2 DLCs and some other stuff with this season pass. Okay, there's $110 right there, plus tax. You know what? We've listened to you guys. We're going to give you exactly what you want for another $40. Yeah. Destiny Forsaken is going to change the game. It's an expansion and all that, which I understand that expansions are a separate thing.
That's been happening since the PS2.
Right. But it's still pretty much a DLC.
Yeah.
They're making the game what it should have been. They're adding content. It's going to be a big thing. It's going to bring the game back to life. But it's like, come the fuck on. Like,
that's stacked against this No Man's Sky thing.
Not to mention the fact that for certain things in the game, you still have to pay money for anyway.
Right.
So, like, they have the premium currency shit.
Wasn't that Prey DLC free as well?
Yeah. The DLC...
So you've got all this, like, these 2 bigger games, like, that are now in favor over Destiny, going, like, here's all this really sweet shit, and it's free.
And I'm still saying this, that Anthem is going to come out, and it's just going to blow the shit out of Destiny, and no one's going to care. Like, I'm going to say that until I am proven wrong. Let's move on.
Speaking of shit that's going to blow things away, everyone's preconceived notions of Episode 9 have hopefully been blown away by the recent casting news, the fact that J.J. Abrams is involved. And that's what we're going to talk about next, because some more cast members have been confirmed for Episode 9. Returning actors like Kelly Marie Tran, Billy Lord, which if you don't know is Carrie Fisher's daughter, and Anthony Daniels were a nice treat in this, but we had already talked about Billy D. Williams stepping back into his cape for the movie. But the big reveal recently was that not only is Mark Hamill going to appear in the film, but they have found a way to keep Carrie Fisher around for one more go by using unused footage from The Force Awakens. Apparently, her family has signed off on this. They feel like J.J. Abrams is being very respectful in the way that they're going to carry out her legacy and end her part in the franchise. And I am so happy to hear this. Like, because you watch the Last Jedi and you're like, well, okay, they didn't kill her in this film, although they had 4 fucking chances. Like, what are they going to do? Yeah. And so just to know that there was this unseen footage no one had ever even heard of before, that they're going to be able to manipulate and use in the crux of the story, just like fills me with excitement, hope for this one. It's J.J. Abrams. He got the thing started off right, and so I really look forward to that. What do you think?
I've got faith, and just the fact that they're using actual footage, and they're not just gonna like CG her in, which to be fair, they do that very well now.
Yeah, and they absolutely could have.
You're not gonna imitate her voice the way that she uses it, and even the CG characters that they put in, that the people have died for, the admiral or whoever it was.
You're talking about Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah. There were times where you couldn't tell, and then there were times where it was blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
Using this actual footage and everything else, it's going to make it more seamless, I think, when they have to transition. So doing a mixture of the two, I think, is really going to help.
Yeah.
And just the fact that her family has signed off on it means that it's worth it.
A few of the articles went into how like they're not going to use CG because they felt it was like a disrespectful way to go about it.
Right.
And so that is what has me like really happy about it. They found a way to do it because they're not going to put out this big budget into their new trilogy really by like just shoehorning awkward weird scenes that don't make any fucking sense. So it just tells me that like JJ figured out a way to work that footage into this film to make it all make sense for the ending.
Well, it is JJ, so
yeah. Now how do you feel about Mark Hamill coming back?
Obviously,
it's either going to be flashbacks or a Force Ghost. Like, those are only two options.
That's what I was going to say. It's either going to be a flashback, it's going to be a Force Ghost, or somehow he's still alive through the magic of the Force and comes to save the day.
If they do that, then it completely diminishes that scene and makes it like worthless.
Gandalf. He pulls a Gandalf and comes back 10 times as strong as before and saves the day at the end of the movie.
I will be so pissed off. I was so angry. And I give a lot of leeway to the Star Wars franchise. I really do. Especially because I pay attention to the novels. I read the novels. I read the comics. All that shit. I accept that there is a larger universe and I accept it as canon, unlike most people who can't get over the fact that fucking the movies even exist. Apparently.
So let me ask you, if Luke Skywalker comes back, Luke of the Light or something like that,
nope. Absolutely no. The motherfucker is dead. They already pissed me off by making the the handoff of the lightsaber a piddly bullshit fucking scene. I hate that. Like, everyone talks about this thing and that thing. Oh, Leia used the Force. That's so weird since every fucking Skywalker before her has apparently used the goddamn Force. But her using it, that's the big fucking, like, end all be all, like, this movie sucks moment. No, you fucking dumbass. But that whole epic moment to the end of The Force Awakens, the big spanning like helicopter shot of the island and the music swelling us into the fucking credits and shit, that meant so much and raised so many questions, for him to just toss it over his shoulder. So, comically, they made a joke out of it. Toss it over his shoulder. That pissed me off. I was like, that makes every fucking second from the ending of The Force Awakens a bullshit pointless scene. And they could have just like ended it with her landing on the island. And that could have been it, because everything following that means nothing.
Now,
That's what pisses me off.
What if it would have been she finds him and they just lock eyes and the movie ends there, and then the next one starts and she goes to hand him the lightsaber and there's a moment there and he takes it.
That would have been at least a little better, but still would have left a bad taste in my mouth. It would have been more uncomfortable and meant less than a moment like that should. And that's what I would have walked away with. But, like, no matter how you play that scene, and I even made the suggestion, like, what if he, like, threw it off to the side? He's walked away from that life. He's casting it aside. If he had thrown it to his side, it would have meant the world of difference than just tossing it over his shoulder, because the shoulder thing was obviously a joke, and it got a laugh out of some of the plebeians in the audience. But tossing it to the side says something. You know, they could have made that tiny little change, and I would have been like, okay, well, that sucks, but at least, like, I get it. You know, I understand that move. But no, this felt like Rain Johnson saying, like, fuck you, JJ. Like, you set up this big scene. I don't want to write that big scene. I don't want to be a part of that big scene. This is my movie. Eat a dick, dude. Like, for real. Like, I feel like you did a great job with the whole of the film, but in that moment, eat a dick, Rian Johnson. And that's what pisses me off, is when Star Wars takes something that someone else created and makes it pointless.
Right.
Yeah, that, like, except for Jar Jar. I feel like they handled that real good by shoving it into a novel I can't even remember the name of.
They did. That was an appropriate
That was the one good way to deal with something someone else created. But... You ready for... You ready for more Disney news? You want to get really depressed and serious again?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, James Gunn was fired from Disney.
I know.
Yeah. After a lot of tweets of his between the years of 2008 and 2012 were dug up, Disney has parted ways with James Gunn. And I'm sure there have been plenty of fucking articles popping up in people's feeds and shit, especially on Twitter. But I felt it was like it was pertinent for us to kind of designate, like, this is the actual whole of the situation, and then discuss, like, our personal opinion on it. Just to give you an idea what these tweets are like, because I'm sure you haven't seen any of the depth.
No, I haven't went in depth to see what the tweets said.
Yeah, one of the bigger ones reads, "The best thing about being raped is when you're done being raped and it's like, whew, this feels great not being raped." That was one of them. With others that made satirical comments about the 9/11 attacks, AIDS, the Holocaust, pedophilia, even describing a monkey masturbating on a young child. And paraphrasing Gunn's Twitter apology, he did come forward and said, "When I started, I viewed myself as a provocateur, making movies and telling jokes that were outrageous and taboo. As I've discussed publicly many times, as I've developed as a person, so has my work and my humor. Not to say I'm better, but I'm very, very different than I was a few years ago. My days saying something just because it's shocking and trying to get a reaction are over. I don't blame my past self for this, but I like myself more and feel more full as a more full human being and creator today." Keeping in mind, he started, and that ends the quotes, keeping in mind he started his career working for Troma, writing Tromeo and Juliet, and, like, do you know who I'm talking about there?
I don't think so.
The Toxic Avenger. They make B horror, like, shock factor shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, he started his career working on stuff like that. And this is, like, and the things in those films that he has worked on early in his career, like, set to the tune of this, are enough to get him fired from Disney alone. So they knew where he was coming from. They knew where he had gotten his start in the industry. And you can't tell me that Disney did not do the appropriate background checks, like, looked into his social media and shit. And you gotta remember, 2012 being the cap of these tweets, like being between 2008 to 2012, it was a different time.
Yeah.
2012 being when he started on the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. It was a different time politically and through Hollywood and shit like that. Not making an excuse for the content of those tweets, but it was a different time. So, like, let's say his most recent tweet was just like 6 months before he got the job working on Guardians of the Galaxy. Disney had to have known about those tweets. There's no way they didn't look into it.
And whether they knew or not, for them now to be like, okay, well, this comment or this tweet that was made close to a decade ago, that is what we are going to base our standpoint of this man who has made us millions, if not billions of dollars.
I mean, the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise is just gigantic now. And when they first made that film, it was an obscure title. 90% of people didn't even know about.
So, for them to take this standpoint on a man who has not only revived basically a dead group,
a dead franchise,
you know, and to make them millions and millions of dollars in profit from these movies, it has brought them, you know, more followers, more fans than they had prior, and everything else. To take this man and judge him and to dismiss him based on what he did a decade ago is entirely unfair, unjust, and I think that speaks
unconscionable.
It speaks more about Marvel and how, or not Marvel, but it speaks more about Disney. And if say someone comes in about, you know, someone unearthed something from George Lucas, made a rape joke back in the 70s, are they going to just completely dismiss and dismantle the Star Wars franchise? Are they going to disown all that? You know.
Well, and that's a little bit of an extreme jump, because they're not burning down the Guardians of the Galaxy. Apparently, Volume 3 is still supposed to happen. He just won't be a part of it. But I agree, it is a very reactionary type thing, rather than Disney making this decision based out of what's right and what's wrong. It's just because, like I said, they had to have known about it. So they've known about it this whole time, and they just sat on it because nobody was making a big deal out of it. Now someone's made a big deal out of it,
and
so they're reacting to that.
And every article that I've read has stated that these were unearthed by like extremists. And I'm going to go ahead and say, like, extremist Trump supporters.
It was more of a political attack than it was anything.
Like, it was a very personal attack towards James Gunn to ruin his career. And
now, I'm not going to defend the tweets themselves, especially anything dealing with pedophilia. I find that distasteful, stupid.
Any of that is, you know, I will say unexcusable, you know, hold the man accountable for what he has said and done, but he has become a different person.
And you read these tweets, like the one I had read about the having been raped, and the best part is not being raped anymore. At the end of it, there's one that's about, like, he wants to do a movie about the Giving Tree, but at the end of the movie, the Giving Tree comes back to life and gives the boy a blowjob or something. If you read the book, because we used to read that to my son a lot. He's a man by the end of that book, so it's a dude getting a blowjob from a tree by the end of that book. But the way he phrased it was little boy and shit. These are obviously trolling comments. You see them in YouTube comment sections every fucking day from any random account.
Exactly.
And stuff. So it's really YouTube comment type bullshit meant to shock and piss people off. And that's how he pointed it out. Now, we ourselves, just on this podcast, have made some really shitty comments, dumb jokes. and stuff. To where if we ever have an entertainment career, this podcast is going to kill us.
Oh, absolutely.
In the future, for sure.
Absolutely.
So we can't stand white knighting either. We can't stand above these comments because we've made shitty, dumb comments too. I think we've avoided making rape jokes. I know we've avoided making child molestation jokes, but we can't hold ourselves to a higher regard either.
Right, and I don't. But at the same time, I hold Disney to a higher standard.
Right.
To just, he's in the negative public eye right now, let's get rid of him.
Right.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did.
And given the understanding of why they made the decision, do you agree with their decision?
No.
No,
I don't.
Not even from a business standpoint.
Even from a business standpoint, Disney, Marvel, like, however you want to call them right now,
right?
They have the staying power to, they could have supported him in who he is now. They could have went so far as to backing him in his statement of, I made these comments during a different period of my life, when I was all about the shock factor and all that.
Right.
And
anyone can relate to that idea.
Exactly.
10 years makes the difference.
And I mean, and the thing is, okay.
Because we've done some stupid shit that's not on camera.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, we keep finding out more and more things and allegations coming up about a lot of our favorite actors over the years.
Right.
And it's a devastating blow for some of these to come up. I still love Kevin Spacey's movies and things that he's been a part of.
And that's a good comparison. The Harvey Weinstein situation, these are guys who not only actively did these things, but apparently didn't stop over the years. And in this situation, we're talking about simply words on a social media website. It's not like there are reports coming out that he molested children and that there's this whole backlog of child pornography on his computer or that he raped anyone or anything like that.
And that's the thing. It was words. But we live in a time right now where words hurt more people than anything else now because everyone is either too concerned about being politically correct or too concerned about who's watching them. And that's what this situation is this came from a seemingly influential source is where these were unearthed. So Disney felt that they had to keep their quote unquote pristine, clean, friendly.
Calling back to a comment we made on a previous episode. I don't know if it was the last one, but it was very recent. The racist crows are still in every copy of Dumbo.
Yeah.
So you took a dick out of the cover of fucking Little Mermaid? That doesn't help clean up your image,
I was going to say,
know where you came from.
All of this Disney history is still there.
Yeah.
So, okay, they're going to
Remember, this is a company that was, raised from the ground up by an anti-Semite.
Yeah. So if they're going to get rid of a big name for them, if they're going to get rid of one of their big money makers, then they need to go back and they need to modify everything in their production history and take out anything racist or even remotely offensive in today's eyes. And it was okay back then when they put it out. That's fine. But in today's eyes, if you were to play Dumbo, I don't want to
or Pinocchio,
anything like that. If you wanted to throw anything like that out there that is racist, sexist, however you want to look at it,
shows child abuse, it
is very poorly received in today's society. But you're still going to stand behind that, But you're not going to stand behind someone who has helped you come up as a company over the past 5-6 years. That's very hypocritical in my eyes.
Yeah. And speaking further, making comparisons to things that are actually going on now, There was another situation kind of like this with Dan Harmon recently. I don't know if you saw that.
I don't think so.
Dan Harmon, if you don't know, is the creator of Rick and Morty. Recently closed a deal for a 70 episode deal, which equals another 7 seasons. Apparently, a very distasteful pilot he made in 2009 where a guy travels back in time and sexually assaults the baby versions of evil people throughout history, like Mussolini and Hitler, Stalin, and shit like that.
Right.
That got resurfaced recently, and Adult Swim came forward and said, because essentially what had happened, he had put that pilot out there. It was called Daryl, and it was meant to be a parody of Dexter. He took it down almost immediately after putting it out and realizing that it was not cool.
It shouldn't be there.
And so Adult Swim came forward and was like, no, we're not going to fire him. He understands that that's not the kind of thing that we look for. He's never presented anything like that for us. Although we do try to push the envelope and we focus on, and I'm very paraphrasing here.
Right.
Although we do try to push the envelope and we try and show some fucked up shit because it's either humorous or a commentary on the world as it is, that's not something we're looking for. And it seems like they stated, it seems like he is apologetic for it. He's, again, never made anything like that since. So we're not going to be cutting ties with him. And so there's an example of a company using practical logic in their business decisions and moving forward with a creator who has made a fucking show that is gigantically beneficial to Adult Swim. If they were to cut ties with Dan Harmon, they're cutting ties with Rick and Morty. So they're throwing away Rick and Morty after making a 7-season deal, which everyone's all about. A show that causes riots in McDonald's. Guardians of the Galaxy is just like that for Disney. Everyone is chomping at the bits for a part 3. Especially, and me personally, excited for the idea that it was supposed to take place before Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like, we're making that jump back. We're going to see more of, supposed to have seen more of the Star-Lord Gamora relationship formulate. I don't know if all that's going to still happen without James Gunn. Because that was his shit. Like, that's what he was going to do.
So Disney's cutting ties with James Gunn. Does that mean that whoever's directing... do they have to not have any ties with James Gunn?
Hopefully not.
Can James Gunn write letters?
Hopefully they can just secretly email back and forth. And there's one more comparison. Like, with the Stan Harmon thing, he actively made the fucking pilot. Like, he went through all the work to do the animation and the voices and do an intro to it, because the pilot starts out with an intro from Dan Harmon and everything, and put it out, and then realized it was fucked up. These are just simple tweets that you can make on the fucking toilet in half a second and then get a phone call and completely forget that you fucking made that tweet.
Yeah.
It's... Although, notifications won't necessarily let you forget about that because, oh god, Twitter notifications are terrible. Yeah, no, it's a really stupid, fucked up thing. On one hand, I'm like, I get it. They fired him for these tweets. They were fucked up. And up to this point, he has not been held accountable. And I think even in subsequent apology tweets, James Gunn was even like, I accept all of this wholeheartedly. This is my comeuppance for making this shit. Because up to this point, he hadn't been held accountable. But at the same time, you have to argue, is he a different person? I think he is. His work at least shows a gigantic change from the shit that he was putting out back during that time, back in 2008, and well before 2008. So, yeah, like, absolutely. I mean, because if someone holds me accountable for some of the shit I was saying in 2008, some of the shit I was doing in 2008, I am so fucked. And that's when I started my YouTube videos, too. Yeah. I really gotta get STC WW taken down.
You probably should.
Probably really should, because there are some videos out right now. And you know what? Just in solidarity of my opinion, I'm not going to cut this out of the episode. There are some videos that I've told you recently that I need to get off YouTube because they are not reflective of the type of shit that I do now. They're not reflective. Right. They were very ignorant videos made by someone who didn't understand what he was talking about and just was making dumb, seemingly to him funny comments and shit based on his own humor and understanding. And that kid, honestly, not even because of those videos, if I could take that dude and beat the living shit out of him, I would. Not even for those videos, but for the life choices that dumb fuck made. Right. I'm a much different, much more adult and grown person, although you can't tell from our humor on this podcast.
Not even if they were on fire.
Yeah, so I think that's where we're going to leave that one. We're going to go into phone booth news now, which is just, holy shit, there is so much phone booth news.
It's time for the news, the phone booth news.
That's right, everyone, it's time for the phone booth news, where we try to give you the news faster than Deadpool can save the day, which gives us 3 minutes, 45 seconds. We're in a hurry. We're in a big old hurry here. So Odle has his finger on the button. One second, let me get rid of these notifications that are on my screen right now because I don't want them to distract me.
Well, you're 10 seconds.
I'm going to try and do... No, I'm not. Don't. Okay, you're... All right, finger on the button. Let me know when you're ready.
Go.
In video game news, a new San Diego Comic-Con gameplay trailer revealed Silver Sable is another villain in the upcoming Spider-Man PS4 title. The Commodore 64 is finally getting a mini version coming to stores in North America on October 9th, 2018, and will retail for $70. In comics news, a ton of comics were revealed before and during San Diego Comic-Con. Some titles include Superior Octopus series written by Dan Slott, an Old Lady Harley 5-issue miniseries, a Batman Who Laughs miniseries by Scott Snyder, a new Star Wars Maxi series project that comprises 3 books, Age of Republic, Age of Rebellion, and Age of Resistance, spanning the prequels to the new sequels with 30 issues in total. A Dr. Horrible one-shot written by Joss Whedon, a relaunch of Marvel Knights, a relaunch of What If, a relaunch of Marvel Zombies, and 2 new DC Black Label stories called 3 Jokers by Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok, and a Batman Joker Deadly Duo team-up book by Mark Silvestri. Tom King also revealed Batman's early 2000s costume will return in Batman number 53 in August, and it was announced that Peter J. Tomasi will be taking over the writing on Detective Comics with issue 994. And finally, after 25 years, the Simpsons comics are coming to an end this October with issue 245. In TV news, AMC's horror subscription service Shudder has greenlit a Creepshow television series to be helmed by Greg Nicotero. Variety is reporting a Buffy reboot series is officially in development with Joss Whedon as executive producer and Monica Ayuso-Bren writing and showrunning. Nickelodeon and Paramount Pictures have also announced they're bringing back Rugrats with a 26-episode order and a live-action live-action film featuring CGI characters. And premiering a trailer for their upcoming TV movie, Invader Zim, Enter the Florpus. After being dropped by Hulu, Lock and Key has found a new home at Netflix, while Marvel's Cloak and Dagger has been renewed for a second season. Star Trek Into Darkness co-star Alice Eve's role in Iron Fist Season 2 has been revealed also to be Typhoid Mary. Oh, yeah. Sam Witwer, the voice of Darth Maul in the Clone Wars, has been cast as Agent Liberty, a villain for Season 4 of Supergirl. And according to Variety, a Batwoman series is being developed at the CW and may debut in 2019. Finally, Star Wars The Clone Wars is returning in 2019 with a 12-episode season premiering exclusively on DC's future streaming service. In movie news, Zombieland 2 has set a release date for October 2019 in time for their 10th anniversary of the original film. Seen during San Diego Comic-Con, the first female Predators of the franchise will be included in the upcoming film. Sorry, spit is overtaking me. Warner Brothers and DC Films also shed some light on their upcoming origin film, and it has officially been titled Joker and is set to hit theaters October 4th, 2019. And according to The Wrap, Black Canary, Huntress, Cassandra Cain, and Renee Montoya have joined the roster of characters supposedly appearing in the DC's Birds of Prey film. Director Ruben Fleischer announced that the symbiote Riot will be a major villain in the Venom film, and others will join him. In other news, according to The Hollywood Reporter, series creator Frank Miller has regained the TV and film rights for Sin City. Hulk Hogan has been reinstated into the WWE Hall of Fame after 3-year suspension for his racist comments seen in a sex tape. And on Monday Night Raw, Vince McMahon, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon announced the first ever all-women's pay-per-view titled Evolution. And that is the news. What did we get? What is it?
417.
417. That sounds about right. A little 30 seconds over. I don't even if I hadn't fucked up during that, I'm still 100% sure it would have come over.
You probably would have only saved about 10 seconds.
Right. Tops. Yeah, there was a lot of news, a lot of San Diego Comic-Con shit. Unfortunately, though, guys, we're not moving on to a comic review section because, one, we had totally forgotten. If you're watching the Instagram, there was a bit of a text back and forth between Alphaspecter and I about how we forgot to pick a book for this episode.
And in case you guys were not aware of that exchange, we have decided to cancel the podcast.
We're burning it all to the ground.
We are destroying all evidence. We are moving, relocating, renaming,
changing our names. We're going to hack the Pentagon. We're going to hack the internet itself, remove everything about us. And it would not serve us well to upload this episode, but I guess we're going to. So, have you been reading anything interesting though? We'll do a little what have you been reading?
Actually, I have been working my way through the Nightwing, The New Order 6-issue miniseries.
Oh, cool. You finally got around to that.
I'm about to read the last issue today.
Kind of an Elseworlds situation there.
It's actually really cool. And Superman just showed up in it without powers.
In which issue?
Issue 5.
Issue 5. Wow, that's a little
like
late
a big thing happens with all the villains, and a bunch of shit happens in Metropolis. So Dick Grayson takes it upon himself there was a device from Apocalypse that could neutralize powers worldwide.
Oh shit.
So, and Batman has had it for years.
Yeah, well that makes sense.
But after a big happening in Metropolis, Dick Grayson makes basically a world police organization type thing and sets it off. And anyone with powers has to be registered. They have to take this like serum to keep their powers neutralized and all that. But everything has went through laws and voting and everything. Like the people wanted this.
Yeah, so basically they're taking the idea behind Marvel's Civil War and hyping Iron Man's part in it to the extreme.
Yeah. But like the Titans are still around as like a rogue faction.
Yeah.
Like when all of this happened, so like okay, Wally, he gets his powers from the Speed Force. So his weren't neutralized in this. Gar, his powers were neutralized mid-morph. So he's like half tiger, half man.
That's insane.
Like, it's really cool to see. Starfire, her powers come from these gauntlets. By the way, they had a kid, but Dick and Corey are not together. That's a big...
That's a whole element
deal.
Of this thing.
She left him.
That's really cool. It sounds like a really cool series, Do you think the trade of this is out yet?
It should be.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm about to read issue 6. I'm kind of bummed I put it off this long, especially because Kyle Higgins wrote it.
it doesn't affect the main continuity, so It's not like you really missed anything. It's an Elseworlds story.
It is.
Even if they don't want to put Elseworlds on the fucking book, it's Elseworlds.
It's Elseworlds.
I have been catching up on a lot. I finally started on Prelude to the Wedding, so I'm like 2 parts into that. Going through the checklist on the Batman wedding shit. I finished No Justice. Really great story. I read that Titans tie-in, so I know how the new Titans team is starting, but I'm not intending on reading that book, so I feel like I wasted my time there. But I also picked up issue 1 of the new Justice League of America book.
How's that
or
one
if it's
going?
just Justice League. It's really cool. Like, a lot of like team dynamics are focused on in this. It's not just focused on like this one like thing. I don't know. It's kind of hard to. It's Justice League. It's very good Justice League.
Okay.
It's raising the stakes from issue 1.
And this is the one that Snyder's writing, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
The way that they institute the Legion of Doom is really cool. The way they get that off the ground. I highly suggest it. Even if you didn't read No Justice, they make comments about like the source wall and all that shit. Which really, even reading No Justice, you're not going to know exactly what happened there without reading Dark Knight's Metal. So, yeah. So if you're not willing to go back and read those 2 events, just start on this because it's really cool. It's going to go, I feel like it's going to go in some really great directions. I read Rigel Reign. Which is a Broken Icon book. I decided to pick up one of those because I bought like everyone's at least first issue at that table. And Rigel Reign, it's alright. It's pretty good. I don't know. It's got me excited enough to look into more, but it's not what I thought it was going to be. It's not as entertaining as I thought it would be from the first issue. So I'm really hoping there's more there in subsequent issues. And I'll probably check out more because I usually try and give shit like 5 issues to grab me. But we're not off to a good start with that one. We're off to a semi-entertaining, I didn't forget what happened in the book start.
So Vinny, do you have to pee?
I gotta pee a little bit. Can you tell? Was I talking too fast?
No, it's not that you were talking too fast. You're just very squirmy right now.
They couldn't see that, and you didn't need to point it out. Anything else you want to talk about in this episode?
No, this has been a pretty jam-packed episode.
Yeah, I think that's going to do it for me, for sure. Especially because I got to pee and I got to try and talk you into recording more. Guys, like this episode if you liked it. Subscribe if you loved it. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit the bell below if you want to know when the newest videos go up. Comment your thoughts on any of today's stories. Let us know where you stand on the whole James Gunn situation, because it's a very hot topic, and I'm sure a lot of the stuff we said in this is not going to be popular. But it's where we stand. It's our personal opinion. We want to hear yours. And of course, please share this episode on social media. Let the people know that we're doing something 100 other fucking people before us have done. You know? How else?
We need you. We'll still do this, but we do it for you guys. We do it for ourselves first, but we also do it for you guys. But we need you guys to be there for us just as much as we're here for you guys.
For an accumulated 4 clicks, totaling 2 shares a month, you can help a podcast reach more audience. In the arms of the angels, help our podcast. Guys, my name is Vincent Herman, Human.
James Odle, Alphaspecter.
And cue that giving charitable outro music.